This is called reversal trap. What is a reversal trap? Well, a reversal trap, actually, this is very, very reasonable for question makers. You know what a clue and a pivot is. Say you identify the clue correctly. Yes, that part of the statement that helps you predict the blank. But you didn't see the pivot clearly. And the pivot asked you to look maybe for a word that is opposite in meaning to the clue. If you didn't see the pivot, you may end up looking for a synonym of the clue. And just in case you fail seeing correctly the pivot, they have included, some expression or some word that could be synonym to the clue. So when you miss the pivot and use a word, with opposite meaning of what should be really the correct choice. Perhaps the pivot instructs you to look for a word that aligns with a clue, but you didn't see and you look for the opposite one. So this is a reversal trap. Let's see here in this two blank question. In this two blank question, we see one blank very close to the other one. So notice it says the critics were so adjective in their noun that Schopenhauer, a librettist known to become squeamish after a light smattering of applause, retreated from public view. So sometimes here what sounds right is actually wrong. Why? Because when you think about critics and their job, you can think that critics can be normally merciless, right? So the authors, people whom critics comment about, they may retreat, right? So it's very easy that this word pulls your eye here for blank one. To say that critics were so merciless in their condemnation, for example, that Schopenhauer, blah, 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 did what he did. But you need to be careful, right? The statement says that Schopenhauer is squeamish with applause. So that is our clue, actually. Okay? If he retreats, it is because there was applause. So the idea here is that we need to look in blank one for something parallel with applause. Why? Because here we see the expression so that. So adjective that. So this provoked as a result that Schopenhauer, retreated or became squeamish, very shy, very frightful, because of applause. So we understand that here our target must be referring to applause. The applause he received was such that made this person squeamish and provoked him to retreat. And since the pivot says so that, then we understand that the critic's critic couldn't be merciless or opaque because it had to do with applause. So if a critic is merciless or opaque, he couldn't be applauding anyone. The only possibility is that the critics were so fulsome in their not condemnation, because he received applause. Rather, praise is what we are looking for. Like the praise is related to Schopenhauer and the fact that there was this smattering of applause. We understand that he was receiving something positive from critics. So positive and so big that he felt intimidated by it because he was probably a shy person or a person with, stage fright or stage panic. So he didn't like those expressions. So this is how we can actually identify the two correct ones. Okay, if we don't get this right, the so that, the kind of critic Schopenhauer received provoked him to become afraid or frightful after applause. So it had to be praise. It had to be positive, the critic he received, not a negative one. Okay? Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. If we said in their condemnation or in their derision, how could we justify that he retreated after a light smattering of applause? It wouldn't make any sense. They have to be aligned, particularly because of this. One thing caused the other.